Okay, so I've been a big fan of ultrawides for a long time now, because more width generally has a lot of benefits for both productivity as well as gaming. You can place two windows side by side with both windows feeling a lot more natural and less squished, which is really great for getting work done, and for gaming it means the screen can feel a lot more expansive and immersive without feeling like you have a whole TV right in your face. And I think it's for those reasons ultrawides have really taken off over the past couple of years, and manufacturers are taking notice and offering wider and wider screens. Originally, ultrawide was really just referring to 21:9, the same as most movies are shot in. But now we have options that are 32:9, which is basically two normal panels fused together. So I guess the question is then, how wide is too wide? Well, in this video, we're gonna try to answer that question by comparing the two and seeing which one might be the best option for you. And to help me out with that, we've got two really good options from each of those categories. Representing the 21:9 category, we've got the LG 45GS95QE, which was sent over by LG for the purpose of review, so shout out to them for that. And for the 32:9s, I've got the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9 OLED. And I think these two are really good to use as comparisons for each other because they have a lot in common. Both are OLED, roughly the same size, both are 1440p 240Hz, and roughly in the same price range as well. And I think if you're in the market for this sort of large format widescreen OLED, these two should probably be at the top of your list. So let's just start this off by talking about the quality of the displays. And to be honest, they're both really good and pretty much match each other spec for spec in almost every realm. Like I said earlier, they're both OLED, so black levels and contrast are gonna be great. These are both VESA Display HDR True Black 400 certified, so games and graphics can look extra crisp and contrasty. These are also both capable of doing up to 240Hz with a 0.03 millisecond graded gray response time. I think pretty much anything with over 120Hz is good enough for me, and these double that, so everything just looks crazy smooth. And I know I just kind of like shouted a bunch of numbers at you, and if you don't totally get it, don't worry, just take my word for it, both of these look great. And I wouldn't make my buying decision based on which one of these panels has the better image quality. Now that being said, the main difference between these two would really just have to come down to the form factors. The LG is 21:9 while the Samsung is 32:9. And this actually has a pretty big impact on the whole experience of using these, especially in gaming. And I think the immediate reaction is usually just that if ultrawide is good, then super ultrawide must be better, right? Well, at least that's what I thought, which is why in the past I went straight from a normal 16:9 screen all the way up to 32:9, skipping the step in between altogether. But honestly, after spending some time with LG here, I think that I might have jumped the gun because I think 21:9 actually has a lot of advantages over 32:9. So first off, I think one of the biggest things that you get an ultrawide in the first place for is more immersion. And when we think about that immersion factor, on paper, the Samsung looks like it would be more immersive. It seems like it's bigger at 49 inches versus 45 inches, and the extra width seems like it would fill in your peripheral vision better, therefore giving you more immersion. But after actually using these for a while and looking into a little bit more, there's a couple of things that I found out that aren't immediately apparent just by looking at the specs. So first off, even though the diagonal length of the Samsung is longer, because of the different aspect ratios, the 45-inch LG actually has a larger surface area. And if you go to Display Wars and enter in the info of both displays, you can see that the 45-inch is actually 15% larger than the 49-inch. And in the real world, this is definitely noticeable. So I've spent the past couple of days switching between these two, using both of them and just really getting acquainted with them. And when you use them side by side like that, the 49-inch starts to feel less like you get added screen real estate on the sides and more like somebody chopped off the top and bottom. And it's to the point that it can feel just slightly claustrophobic, because even though it's still a relatively large screen, the height of the screen is actually the same as a 34-inch inch 21:9 ultra wide or a 27-inch normal 16:9 monitor. So just in terms of immersion, I would have to give the win over to the 21:9. I still like the 32:9 better than a regular 16:9 for gaming, but if I had to choose between these two, like the ultra wide LG or the super ultra wide Samsung, I would go with the LG. Next, another advantage of the 21:9 is compatibility. Ultrawides are still relatively new compared to 16:9, and 32:9 super ultrawides are even newer compared to that. So right now, as of 2024, most games will support ultrawide 21:9 formats. However, the same can't really be said for 32:9 games. A lot of games will either not support it at all, or it'll have some weird integration of the UI elements because they just don't really know where to put them. For example, in a lot of games, you'll have a minimap in the corner, but they'll either be all the way over on the edge, so you have to turn your whole head to be able to see it, or it'll just be kind of awkwardly in the middle of the screen, which is easier to see, but it just feels kind of weird how it's floating in the middle. So I think bottom line, if you're looking to grab one of these up specifically for gaming, I would probably opt for the 21:9. For me, the lack of compatibility with a lot of games kind of does it for me, because I mean, it doesn't matter how nice the screen is if you can't play the games that you want to. Now, you can pretty much force any game to play in regular 16:9 or 21:9 on these super ultra wides, but it's just a kind of awkward workaround, and you end up with black bars on either side, which I am just not a fan of. Plus, when you think about the opportunity cost of being able to spend the same or less money on what is, in my opinion, a more seamless and immersive experience with the 21:9, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to go with the super ultra wides. I also don't want to make it seem like I'm just bashing the 32:9s either though, because I would still take this any day of the week over a regular 16:9 display. The level of immersion that you get with super ultrawides is still miles better, and for productivity, it's still actually my favorite form factor because you can have two full-size windows right next to each other, and it's basically like having two monitors but without the seam in the middle, which I think is awesome. But for gaming, and honestly the compatibility, I would go with the 21:9 for all the reasons I mentioned earlier, and you still get a lot of those productivity benefits as well. Of course, it really just depends on your situation and how you use your computer, but if you're in the market for a big 21:9 beast of a gaming monitor, I would definitely check this one out from LG because it looks great. Link will be in the description, so take a peek if you're interested. But that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.